demander aussi, s'il vous plaît, de faire attention de ne pas passer devant les caméras, les gens sont debout.
Kwekwe, I'm Annie Smith Gishkwanakwad, Kirganzi Bionjiba. I'm happy and honored to be here today. Ça me fait plaisir d'être ici aujourd'hui, d'ouvrir cette conférence de presse. I would like to acknowledge our president here this day and all of us here today. As we do an opening and a greeting, I welcome you all to the territory of my ancestors. Greetings, ones who have traveled from distance to get to this place in safe. And I greet you on the Algonquin territory. Comme aujourd'hui, c'est une journée une autre journée qui est très, très difficile pour tout le monde. Nos sœurs, nos frères, et tout le monde, chez les femmes, ils disparaissent puis meurent. Our people, our young people, our youth, our children are missing. We're living in a Canadian world where these things should not happen. However, I acknowledge the leaders that are taking some steps, baby steps, towards bettering our people. I acknowledge all leaders that are here, that are here, that are taking these steps forward to help us, so that we, the original people of Canada, the Anishinaabe people of Canada, will have a better place for the children, and so it will be safe for us. I thank everyone that's here today, everyone that's present in this room, and I thank you all. Miigwech, ojeka kina, awiag, wasunjima, ikwewag, ininiwag. Miigwech jigjamanido, ojeka kina, kingujeto, mega kigiaton, onje ninuwet, kingujeton, kigikandan, kakina, awiag, wasunjima. We do come Anishinaabe kwewag, wasunjima, miigwech.
Merci beaucoup. Alors, merci beaucoup. Je me présente Michèle Audette, présidente de l'Association des femmes autochtones du Québec. My name is Michèle Audette, president of the Native Women Association of Canada, and really honored to be here. So we will have 3 family members who will read a statement, and I would like to invite Gail Nipinak, and of course our friend Lorna and Sue Martin.
Hello, my name's Gail Nipinak. I'm here in Ottawa seeking justice for my sister Tanya, Jane Nipinak, who was murdered in Winnipeg. I came all the way to Ottawa to push for action for my sister. My family and I, like many families, are looking for answers on what happened to Tanya. We have struggled with the justice system and the police. We want the search for my sister's body to continue, and we want answers. I would like to thank the Native Women's Association of Canada for supporting our call and for fighting for a national inquiry for women like my sister Tanya. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Susan Martin. I'd like to thank the Native Women's Association of Canada for allowing me to speak on the joint statement. Today, the Native Women's Association of Canada delivers 23,000 signatures to the Government of Canada calling for a national public inquiry into a murdered and missing Aboriginal woman. For years, NWAC families and communities have called attention to the high numbers of missing and murdered Aboriginal women and girls in Canada. In response and in support, NWAC documents through the 5 years Sisters in Spirit Initiative 2005 to 2010, nearly 600 known cases of this extreme form of violence and published their findings to both educate and promote action to address the issue. The tracking of these occurrences continue today, with the numbers of murdered and missing Aboriginal women increased to over 800. NWAC is grateful for the many organizations and individuals continuing to wear awareness of the serious ongoing matter. Today we are working towards a common goal to address the injustice. Monitoring in the building. Okay, thank you. Go for it.
Hi, my name is Lorna Martin. My mother's been missing since 1987. Her name is Marie Jean Kreiser. Isn't she pretty? That's my mom. Momentum among Canadians continues to build. First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples are rising up and embracing their own forms of expression and their own calls for action across Canada, and internationally groups are calling for an end to gender-based violence through movements such as the First Nations Child and Family Caring Society, Have a Heart Day, 1 Billion Rising, Memorial Marches, and the Girls Action Foundation National Day of Action. A year ago, NWAC launched a petition calling for a national public inquiry. Signatures as well as messages of solidarity poured in. More than 23,000 signatures were collected thus far. The petitions will be submitted to the government in Canada on February 13th to mark the final day of interviews of the Special Parliamentary Committee into the matter of missing and murdered Indigenous women in Canada. A national public inquiry would be a crucial step in implementing a comprehensive and coordinated national action plan, which is what NWAC and their many supporters are calling for. As our community organizations have repeatedly urged, such a response is necessary to address the scale and severity of violence faced by Aboriginal women and girls. Together, we demand action and secure commitments from all levels of government, stated Michelle Odette. In closing, we express our sincere thanks and gratitude to the families. We thank them for sharing their stories and for their leadership in this movement. You are the reason we continue to demand action. We are honored to walk beside you on this journey.
Merci beaucoup. Thank you very much. And of course, we will have friends, good friends from different political party speaking after. Alors, le message s'adresse directement au premier ministre Harper. Je vous demande, c'est un cri du cœur, lorsqu'on a 3 rapporteurs spéciaux des Nations unies, que ce soit pour la condition des femmes ou de la question des droits des peuples autochtones, et notamment de la Commission interaméricaine à Washington, qui disent toutes dans leur rapport le besoin urgent d'une enquête nationale publique pour faire la lumière sur les cas de disparition et d'assassinat, et évidemment suivi d'un plan d'action pour contrer et prévenir la violence faite aux femmes autochtones. Pourquoi envoyer des regrets à l'Inde lorsqu'on sait qu'il y a des viols collectifs, quand cette même réalité-là se passe au quotidien ici au Canada, quand les familles n'ont pas du tout de message de votre part, Monsieur le Premier ministre? Pourquoi aussi rencontrer les familles d'une jeune fille, malheureusement, qui a mis fin à ses jours à cause de la violence faite sur Facebook? Je vous félicite d'avoir fait ce geste. Cependant, des milliers et des milliers de familles, depuis plusieurs décennies, n'ont jamais eu de regret de votre part sur la question des femmes assassinées et disparues, et ce, ici au Canada. Alors, je vous dis, les chiffres le démontrent, ceci est une tragédie. Ce n'est pas une question de droit des femmes autochtones, mais c'est un droit qui touche tout le monde. Alors, je vous demande de suivre les recommandations qui vont, j'espère, ressortir du comité parlementaire. Et si le mot « enquête nationale pour les femmes assassinées et disparues » et d'un plan d'action n'est pas dans ce rapport, Je vous jure, Monsieur Harper, je vous jure qu'on va aller chercher le monde d'Idle No More, d'aller chercher tous les politiciens, tous les gens qui ont signé, les unions, les syndicats, 4000 signatures, 23 000 citoyens et citoyennes du Canada qui vous disent « c'est assez, nous avons besoin de faire la lumière sur ces réalités-là ». Alors, si ce message n'est pas clair, écoutez, on ira prendre une tasse de thé ensemble. Dear, the message today is for the Prime Minister of Canada, Monsieur Stephen Harper. It is a shame to see and to hear that we have in place a special parliamentary committee, which is a one-year anniversary today, and NWAC decided to pull out for the reason because we know that we won't see or we won't read the wording of a national public inquiry. It's a must and it's a need for the missing and murdered women. And of course, the National Plan of Action for ending and promoting nonviolence. If it's the case, you'll make sure that we will hunt you, or we will make sure that the next federal election will be something that maybe this government will regret. Because when I see $25 million for missing and murdered Aboriginal women, it's the same renewal money that you put for this National Center for a Missing Person. You have strong people, you have strong family, you have strong advocates such as the Native Women Association of Canada for many decades. The only thing we really want to have a dialogue, really want to work with you to show those 23,000 people who signed, to show the 4,000 people from the public servant, the people who work for this government who said enough is enough. When you have 3 special rapporteurs from the UN and from the OAS telling you there is an emergency for a national public inquiry, why are you putting yourself all alone? So the next federal election, I'll make sure everywhere I go, I will ask the women to stand up and vote. This is a right. We will be voting either for change or strong commitment.
Je m'appelle Caroline Bennett au nom du Parti libéral du Canada et notre chef Justin Trudeau. En solidarité avec l'Association des femmes autochtones du Canada et particulièrement les familles. Merci beaucoup, Miigwech. It's as a member of Parliament, sometimes we hear stories that we think all Canadians need to understand. That this issue of murdered and missing Indigenous women it's not an Indigenous issue. It's not a women's issue. This is a Canadian issue. It's a Canadian issue of people who are seeking justice, who from their hearts don't want what happened to them to happen to any other family. What they've been through and are still going through is heart-wrenching. And it's tomorrow at Valentine's Day when all of us are hopefully with our loved ones, we hope that you will think of the hole in the heart that is in the families that have been so touched by this tragedy. That it's their mothers, it's sometimes their grandmothers, their aunties, their nieces, their daughters, their cousins. These are real people. This is not a statistic. And as we see the statistics mount, we know that we have to do something and that doing nothing is not an option. But these are real people with real faces and real families. And that when you see all the papers with the signatures, we know that we are starting to get beyond the immediate group of those families immediately touched by this tragedy. So we together believe this is not a partisan issue. This is a Canadian issue. This is something that we need to know. We need a national public inquiry to get to the bottom of actually what causes it, not only the root causes, but the issues in policing, the issues in what happens in terms of investigation, and the issue around the support that happens for the families. We actually want then to have a national action plan. And we believe that is the only way that we will get there across this complex issue that crosses many government departments in many jurisdictions. That you in order to deal with complex issues, you need a strong common purpose and the local wisdom, local knowledge to get it done. But everybody needs to be on the same page. That's why it's still going on. And so we are here, and we hope that the committee will agree to with all of its recommendations, to agree to a national public inquiry and to be in total solidarity with these families. We are so pleased that they came to our committee. We are so pleased that the parliamentary secretary was willing to organize a hearing of the families, which hadn't happened at the beginning. We wanted it to happen at the beginning, but at least it happened, and I think it touched the heart of anyone who was able to hear those families. We want all Canadians to understand this is going on every week, every month, and it's got to stop. And we are all part of calling on the government for that solution.
I stand here with my colleagues Romeo Saganash and Irene Matheson and our team, the official opposition in the House, the NDP, in solidarity with the message that you have heard today. We have heard NWAC loud and clear. A national public inquiry into missing and murdered Indigenous women must be in the report of this committee. We are very concerned about the government's language on this issue, and we're very concerned about the continued inaction. Imagine if there were over 600 non-Indigenous women missing in our country. Women whose families wouldn't know what happened to them. Women whose families with very little resources, would have to search for them. And I think of my friend Gail Niepenak, who came here this week from Manitoba, my home province, to tell us about how she wants answers. Her family wants answers, and they want to look for their sister's body, which they believe is in a garbage dump in Winnipeg. And I think of the families that are here today, families that the Native Women's Association works with, that are demanding answers and that deserve answers. There must be action. There must be a national inquiry. J'aimerais remercier le travail de l'Association des femmes autochtones du Canada, son leadership en demandant pour une enquête nationale publique dans la disparition des femmes autochtones dans notre pays. C'est une honte. Imaginez-vous s'il y avait plus de 600 femmes non autochtones qui sont disparues dans notre pays. Ce serait une autre histoire. Ces familles méritent la justice, ils méritent les réponses, et nous, au NPD, comme opposition officielle, on va se battre en solidarité avec les organismes autochtones, avec les femmes autochtones, avec tous ceux qui demandent la justice. Merci beaucoup.
Sean Brandt has written a letter to Sean Brandt's a Mohawk activist. He's written a letter to the Prime Minister giving him till the end of the month to call a public inquiry, or he's going to launch unspecified direct action. He's already has a track record of doing spectacular direct actions like blocking the 401. Do you support actions like those, the type that Sean Brandt executes to push this issue?
You know what I support? The call for a national public inquiry. If he has a past, it doesn't belong to me, because at the end of the day, family will have answer. And I know media wish to cut and whack if we believe in that kind of approach or if it's violent, or etc. Right now, there's an emergency for those families. If this man wished to be more proactive and more, bouger plus de choses, it belongs to him. So Harper should maybe, I don't know, respond to us, to women, to families, without or with his demand. Do you understand? Sa violence ou s'il y a un mauvais passé, ça ne m'appartient pas. Mais s'il demande une enquête nationale publique, oui, ça, j'appuie. Oui, j'appuie comme maman.
Special committee has accomplished?
Oh, my God. I have to say thank you for Dr. Bennett for proposing that a year ago. And what it accomplished for me, I said it this morning when I met with the Minister of Status of Women and several people after. I'm afraid that it's another report. I'm afraid. And I told them on November 21st from my community with my twins, where I was really, really grassroots with my people, saying, if it's so obvious that the Prime Minister says no, publicly and at the international level, there's no way this government will go ahead with a national public inquiry. And then you have a few weeks after Minister Valcourt at an Aboriginal Minister Affair meeting in Winnipeg saying, no, Michel, we're not going to fund this. We're not going to go that way. We're a proactive government. So that's why on November 21st, I said, NWAC will pull out. We're not puppets or muppets, des marionnettes. We're strong advocate, dedicated, intelligent, passionate. We're mothers. And for us, it's obvious they have the majority. Let's be frank. So they'll have fun to argue. They'll have a hard job, a tough one. And we were supposed to be partner with them, and it never happened. So for me, when they say they work with First Nation, Métis, and Inuit, or national organization, I have a good example here that it didn't work at all.
$25 million that was announced. Do you know if you'll be able to do any research or document ongoing cases?
No. It's not going to go towards a new project. It's my understanding. It's just a renewal for the National Center and services for families. And a lot of families don't even know where are those services. So if we were really working together, knowing that it's for family at the grassroots level, maybe we could have been, a partner on that with them. But it's just the same money, $5 million per year for 5 years. So if it's pro-action, big joke.
Vous dites que vous vous êtes retiré du processus parlementaire. Qu'est-ce qui vous donne espoir encore aujourd'hui que la recommandation finale pourrait être changée, vu que vous vous êtes retiré du processus?
Bien, ce qui me donne espoir, j'ai de l'espoir jusqu'au moment où je vois la preuve. Alors, je vous dirais que j'ai encore espoir qu'en effet, nos collègues de l'opposition au pluriel, on s'entend, vont être en mesure, avec la force de M. Saganache et Mme Bennett et les autres parlementaires, de pouvoir amener ce vocabulaire-là afin d'engager le gouvernement en place. Si ce n'est pas le cas, conférence de presse, on se retire, on donne les raisons. Et ensuite, ça va faire officiellement partie d'une campagne dans laquelle le Conseil d'administration de Femmes autochtones du Canada est d'accord à ce qu'on dise à tous les partis politiques confondus pour les prochaines élections fédérales, l'enquête nationale publique doit faire partie de la plateforme politique. Sinon, c'est un shame, on dirait, une honte.
Budget. J'aimerais vous entendre en français sur le 25 millions,
oui,
mais aussi sur l'idée de la création d'une banque d'ADN pour les personnes disparues. Parce que ça pourrait avoir un impact parmi les familles qui sont derrière vous.
Oui. Écoutez, pour le 25 millions, c'est pour le Centre national pour les personnes disparues et des services pour les familles ayant perdu une sœur, un enfant, une femme, etc. La plupart des familles, donc c'est le même financement qui a été alloué depuis les 4 dernières années. Alors, ce n'est pas de l'argent nouvel, ça c'est important, mais on donne le titre cette fois-ci « Femmes assassinées et disparues ». Donc, ça donne l'impression que ce gouvernement, avec les pressions, finalement aurait accepté de faire des actions concrètes. Ça, c'est une chose. La deuxième chose, dans le Centre national, les femmes autochtones, lorsqu'une personne rentre dans cette banque de données-là, on ne mentionne pas si c'est une femme autochtone. Donc, à la fin de l'année, on va démontrer qu'au Canada, les femmes autochtones disparaissent moins grâce aux mesures de Harper. Comprenez-vous? Alors, pour moi, ça, c'est de l'ordre de l'inacceptable. Cependant, avec l'ADN, alors peut-être que là, on va avoir un espoir sur différents cas qui datent depuis des décennies, notamment avec l'ouverture de plusieurs cas au sein de la GRC depuis les pressions de femmes autochtones du Canada, comme vous avez pu voir là, lorsqu'un document avait été ressorti d'un de vos collègues, le journaliste. Alors, on se dit, c'est un pas vers, mais il y a beaucoup plus à faire encore.
Donc, vous l'appuyez quand même, cette banque de données?
Oui, je pense que c'est important, là, c'est important. C'est important, puis il y a des... OK. Ça commence tard dans le temps.
I think that again, the 25 million is just continuing the 5-a-year that's been going on. Yeah. This is not new money. No matter what they say, it's not new money. And I think that the fact that right now, even in the missing and murdered file, they can't even say if it's an Indigenous person, woman or girl or not, means that without the work of Sisters in Spirit, they still have to collect the data in an informal way. The data bank on DNA is a very good idea, meaning in terms of closure for the families. But that money doesn't flow till 2016. I mean, if this is a crisis, if you're taking this seriously, how on earth can you set up a data bank and look these people in the eye and say you're not going to start till 2016? It really is a tragedy.
C'est une campagne politique là, pour les prochaines élections qui arrivent, c'est évident, là, évident. D'ailleurs, il y a un journal qui a eu une belle caricature